Hello, everybody. I am back again, this time with another special guest, John. So before we jump into anything, first and foremost, if you haven't met John before, you haven't met myself, and this is the first time you're watching one of our videos, my name is Mason Armbruster. I'm the founder and CEO of Constant Closings, a digital marketing agency that specializes in helping real estate agents generate more inbound phone calls and filling that white space on their calendar with a lot of appointments. And in turn, generating anywhere from 2 to 5 clients a month and adding that to their bottom line. But that is more than enough about me. Like I said, we have a special guest with us here today, John. John's actually flown in from Florida. So if you want, John, perhaps you can give yourself, or give everybody a little bit of background.
Yeah, so my name is John Haynow. I'm with eXp Realty. I have my own team. I have about 5 members right now. And we, like Mason said, we are located in Florida, Palm Beach County. We also service Port St. Lucie. And I met Mason, I want to say about a month and a half ago. Gave him a hard time for about 2 weeks, trying to dissect the system and see how the system was, set up and structured. And a month and a half later, we're here, giving the testimony.
Yeah, and it's great to have somebody, one, I don't get to meet with that many people in person, so let alone to meet somebody who's having success with the program all the way down in Florida. It's great to have both of you guys here and your wife and business partner behind the camera as well that you guys can't see. So perhaps just let's dive a little bit into the background, because we have been partnered, like you said, we've known each other for about a month and a half now, been partnered for about a month. And so first and foremost, maybe we can backtrack to before our partnership. Okay. Can you kind of share with people, like, what was the situation in terms of what was going on with the team, and what had you guys looking in terms of on the horizon for like a partnership with a lead gen service or an appointment generation service in the first place?
So basically, my wife and I have been in business for about 3 years, and this is our 3rd year. We just finished, and our first year was, the ups and downs, the constant just going through classes and everything else. Our 2nd year was really when we took a deep dive into lead generation, lead follow-up, and started learning those concepts. I got an amazing system that is no longer available. And this system basically allowed me to create an ad, put it in Facebook, and let it run and give me leads. And I'm the type of guy that I respond to leads very fast. So very quickly, I started just picking up and filling out the pipeline, and I was able to juggle many clients at once. But there was a point that it became too much, too many people, constant calls.
Good problem to have.
It's an amazing problem to have. And that's when I started saying, I really need to set myself up to be a team leader and have people under me. So our 2nd year in real estate, we did amazing. And it was not only the ads and the phone calls, but also now the referrals. So our 3rd year, we branched out of our group that we were at and decided to finally do our own thing. And that's how Haynow Homes was born. And we started with 1 agent, our former assistant, and then we grew to 5. But there was a gap, because I guess not everybody clicks right away with the concept of you have to, we have a nickname for one of our agents, is no lead left behind, kind of like the movie Trolls. And it's true, no lead left behind. Yeah. But you need to be able to either fill that gap with very good agents, people that put in the work, but sometimes there's a learning curve that's behind that. Absolutely. And many times you end up, cycling back agents, back and forth. So sometimes I was left to pick up the slack. We were very buyer oriented, and we were able to delegate a lot of business to our agents, but then I was like, I need to fill that gap. And that gap was, how do I make sure that no lead is left behind? Right. So that's when I started inquiring. And I think when I first spoke to you, I said, I'm like a lead generation system junkie. I've tried them all.
Yeah, you did. You were very candid.
Yeah.
You're like, we tried a lot of things, and to be honest with you, Mason, we haven't been happy with all of them, so I'm a little on the fence and a little on edge about all of this. So
yeah, just like you said, and I told you, first things first, you have a commitment, you have this, you have that. I bombarded you with questions, and you were able to navigate them beautifully. But one thing, and I told my wife this, that really amazed me, is that you actually followed up. Because I still get phone calls from things that I clicked on, I don't know, 5 months ago. Yeah. And I just got the first.
Oh, you just got the first follow-up?
The first follow-up. Yeah. You followed up the day after, and you were able to follow up And I thought you were a bot, but then I realized you weren't. So I was like, okay, let me continue the conversation. And I bombarded you with questions. You know, like I said, I've tried them all. I've been in, you know, situations that I cancel a lead generation system a week after I get it. And it was just because I was trying to fill in that gap.
Mm-hmm.
That at that moment in my business and in my team, it looked like a bunch of things. But speaking with you, we were able to figure out how to put it together, structure it, and actually, you know, fill that gap. And we've been doing amazing.
Yeah. And I'm super happy about that. We're going to get into those results with everybody in a second. But first and foremost, I want to touch on what you were saying, because you did tell me too, you were very transparent about the fact that you were talking to a lot of people, that you've had experience with a lot of people before. I wasn't the only person necessarily that you were working with or talking to, like those people that maybe just outreaching now after a month or 5 months ago or whatever the case may be. So I'm sure, well, I'm curious, and I'm sure anybody watching this is probably curious as too, knowing that you were speaking to all those people, and a lot of this looked the same on the surface. What exactly was it about our system in particular, or the discussions that we had, that really made you guys want to sit down and actually pull the trigger, seeing as you were talking to other folks?
It was how you dissected the whole thing and presented to me from point A to point Z, how it looked like. And you were able to pinpoint where I was lacking. And you told me that my system is going to be able to help you like this with your process.
Gotcha.
And
A to Z.
Yeah. And in my brain, what clicked was, okay, because you were also very candid and transparent.
Yeah.
And I was able to say, okay, so you basically allow me to structure a system that is going to be, you know, hence the name, constantly bringing closings into the pipeline.
Right.
And is allowing me to scale, back off a little bit from the initial lead generation portion of it, and be able to actually build on the team, which is where I'm needed most, so that they can handle all the constant closes that come in. So, but to answer your question, it was that you dissected from A to Z everything that I needed to hear, and you were able to give me feedback according to I don't think there were objections. There were rather like pain points from my end of things, and you were able to just be there.
It's all about, like, I use a boat analogy a lot. Like, where are the holes? Where's the water leaking? What holes do we need to plug?
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what we walked through. And I'm glad that we did, and we took the time. And quite frankly, I'm glad you guys asked as many questions as you did, because the people that do get the most out of the programs, because they truly see exactly how it's going to mesh into their business. Because we come more so in-house, right? As you've noticed. What are you guys looking to achieve? Where are the holes? Where can we plug it? Rather than a cookie cutter, you know, like a big Zillow or like something like that. So that's really what we try to do. And I'm glad that we had a chance to go through all those questions and everything. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here, right?
Correct.
So I want to kind of transition now into the juicy stuff, because you guys have had an incredible amount of success already within the first 3 weeks. So now at this point, it's about 4 weeks, because a week has passed since we started talking about the first people coming in and everything. But it's been 3 weeks. I don't want to spill the beans. How about you spill the beans on
Well, it's been 3 weeks. We're going on our 4th week. And it's actually very important to say that today's the 27th of December, 26th?
Yes, 27th of December, 2021.
So we started the program, launched it during Thanksgiving, and we've gone through now Christmas and New Year's. The system launched, and it was no surprise to me that leads started coming in. What started to become what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I got really excited was to see the ISA system, the sales agent, which in my case his name is Wellington, constantly contacting them and going through scripts, going through all this, which is another thing I actually went through, and I think I shared it with you. I've had BAs in the past, trained them extensively for 3-4 days, and all of a sudden, you know, gone, poof.
Right.
So and that's something I also told my wife. I'm actually very happy that I was able to delegate all the training, accountability, and anything that has to do to ISAs to you, so that way I can focus on the nifty thing that he has is that, you know, they record all the conversations. So you go back, you listen to the juicy stuff, like you said, and you're able to pick up where they left off.
Yes.
Very, very smoothly. So ever since then, we've been able to generate tons of leads. None of them have been left behind. You still have your drip campaign systems and all of that. But Wellington has been able to sift through everything, produce very, very quality leads. which I think every lead is a quality lead, is more of a timeline type of deal. When is your intention? Is it today? Is it tomorrow? Is it this year? Next year? So being able to go through all of them and bring the ones that are more immediate on top.
Right.
We had an escrow after 2.5 weeks. Met her, went out with this buyer after maybe 5-6 houses, put an offer, and we're under contract.
2.5 weeks.
Yeah,
2.5 weeks got it in, and that was, you said, about 10,000 in GCI. Is that right?
Yeah, more.
That's awesome. 2.5 weeks is incredible. And you told me too that it sounds like you guys have some other people lined up as well, or?
Yes, we do. We have about 5 people, active clients. 3 of them are already pre-approved. The other 2 are going through the process, and I think they're not under contract just because we had to take a forced break. You know, with the holidays and all that.
And Christmas.
But I have my agents actively showing to them. I'm actively handling their woes, teaching them what to do, what not to do, and I'm just having a blast because I'm able to focus on that.
Yeah.
And I'm able to, just keep the pipeline full, so that way I can focus on what I'm supposed to be doing.
Of course. Yeah.
My role, and then just let the constant closings flow.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, it's not just real estate. In any business, if you are a business owner, it's the saying, like, focus on the 20% of the activities you do that produce 80% of the results, right?
Yeah.
And that's really, so the same thing applies to me, same thing applies to you guys, and so that's really what we've tried to do with the system. Like, you guys have Wellington on board to try to give you that time to focus on the money-making activities. Because if you have to be glued to your phone or your computer or sitting inside, outbound calling people, you're not actually out meeting people, building relationships, which is what we're in. We're in a relationship building business, right? And then you get the time to actually go out, speak with people, build those relationships. And
correct.
All that type
like
of
you
stuff.
said, the 20-80 principle describes it perfectly, because in real estate, your pipeline is slow. You don't have any escrows coming up. So what do? You hit the phone, since a smart real estate agent would do that. And all of a sudden you're back into a full pipeline, you go crazy, and then you go down again, and you go up, kind of like everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Right.
But to go into that 80-20 principle, so far you have allowed me to, from the get-go, be in a 60-40. And in my context, in my business, that other 20% that I'm looking for is my agents. So I'm able to focus on that while not entirely letting go of the other 20%.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, that's where you're a team leader, and then I can focus on, the higher intent leads.
Yeah.
And I'm able to delegate the ones that are not so higher intent, even though that I'm ready to transition out of all that and just give everything away. Right. But it has allowed me to say, have Sarah call in and a girl named Eileen, listen, do this. Like, we were texting because one of the buyers wanted to go to a showing today, and she's like, the holidays. I'm like, no, take your phone, call the listing agent, bombard his phone, and get a showing today. I'm pretty sure that you'll get it, because I will get it.
Yeah.
She's now showing a buyer while I'm here with you.
I love it.
So I'm able to focus on that and not just be worried about, is every lead being touched? Is every lead being, getting their intent? So, but you have allowed us to take care of that, 60. And I can see, because once you get him, you go into constant feedback and back and forth with him. What is working? What is not? How can we do better? How can the ISA speak better? And I can see that progressing. And like you said, just letting me be at the 20% that produces, that brings the constant closings, because your 20% is making sure that all that is taken care of.
Exactly. I want to come back, retract a little bit, kind of mentioning the results you've seen now, knowing that you've actually, because it's one thing to hear about a system, but it's another to actually be in it and experience it and stuff like that.
Sure.
So knowing, like you said, you're kind of a lead gen junkie, you said, and you tried a bunch of other things. I really am curious, and I want other people to get a chance to hear as well, because they may be in the same boat, or they may have tried the same lead gen services that you've tried in the past. Could you kind of give us an idea of what you tried in the past, just a handful of the services you tried, and what are the big things that stand out to you in terms of the differences between those services that you decided, you know what, I don't want to pull the trigger, and now that you've actually been able to see the inner workings of us, what were some of those comparisons, I guess? So
I've done it from the $99 one-time fee type of deal to the biggest, which is Zillow. And when I say biggest, it's the one that is the most expensive.
Right.
For in terms of return of investment as well. I was spending, $5,000-6,000 every month on Zillow just to get inquiries on the phone. Yes, they could be in a higher intent. They could be in a lot more progressed in the timeline of buying and purchasing. However, if you didn't pick up at the time, if you didn't pick up when the phone came through, when the phone call came through, your chances start lowering themselves.
Yeah, they kind of lower you on the totem pole, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that how it works? Yeah.
Correct. That's how it works. So on the second year, I didn't have any business. I didn't have any, or I did have some, but here and there. So I was always ready to pick up.
Yeah.
Now I'm always constantly picking up phone calls from agents, dealing with the "you got a minute," as well as the clients, as well as I have two small kids, and even then, my pickup rate was amazing. Like it was 98% or something like that. But at the same time, I didn't see the return on investment because yes, you got the inquiry. Out of 10 inquiries, you might have got one that was more immediate, but then the other 9 fell into that trap that they started being left behind.
That's what I was about to ask.
Yeah.
What do you think it came down to? If your show up rate was good, or your call rate?
Exactly. Let's say out of 10 leads, one was escrow and pay for the system, but the return of investment wasn't as good. That's the biggest one. Then the $99 one is just they send you something from here and there. You call them, and then they're not interested, and then that was about it. If we meet in the middle, I've always been a big believer that you get what you pay for. But there was something about them that didn't allow me to continue, and it was a mistake that I did last year. And if I'm finally out of it after 12 months of a contract, and it was something that was, everything that had a contract, I was like, trying to negotiate it down to let me not try, let me do this. I will pay you, 3 months in advance, but don't put me in a contract because I just want to see if it works. And I think it works is very relative at some level because you need to have an affinity with the system. You need to have an affinity of how it's structured and how you need to respond to it.
Right.
As well as the other way around. You need to be an agent that fits with the whole structure that you have. So many of those I ended up just showing away. It was something that you give them your database. They even raffle an Amazon card every year for $400, something like that. So at the end of the day, it was just a given. But then, like I said, it was dissecting the whole process from A to Z and looking at where my pain points were, and you coming in and saying, okay, we have this answer for that. We have that answer for that. It helped me make an educated decision for my business. And I told you, I'll know within the week.
You did. You did. You told me, look, Mason,
I'm
going to be talking to you in a week or two. I'm going to know if this works or not. So if it isn't working, you basically, with that, to beat around the bush, you basically said, like, I'm going to call you on your BS in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, I'll know.
Pretty much.
And the good thing is, we didn't have to have that conversation, did we? So
not at all. In fact, we were able to structure something in terms of, because I do understand these things need to build up momentum in order for them to come with a result. So I went gladly with your structure, and I think all I asked you was to to split the payments. And I told my wife after the week, let me just call him to just take that out for accounting purposes, and then let's just roll with it. And then we actually need to have a conversation afterwards because I want to open another market.
Right.
And so, anyways, yeah. I think I diverted from the question a little bit.
I love it. No, I love it. Yeah. So I just wanted to kind of compare because there are plenty of other people that are in that situation, whether they're not, they may not be lead junkies, but they're lead gen research junkies.
Yeah.
So they talk to people, but then they never actually pull the trigger and actually talk to them or pull the trigger and move forward. I guess is what I meant. So the other thing, I'm keeping myself straight here. One of the other things I wanted to touch on is, and we were just kind of talking about this before we started the video, is that regardless of the system, whether it's ours, somebody else's, you're going to get out of the system what you put in. So it doesn't matter whether it's us or anybody else. And we have people in the program. Like I said, we typically average an additional 2 to 5 clients a month for our real estate agents and our partners, such as yourself. But we have some people that are on that lower end, right? That maybe they're pulling in 1 closing a month, 2 closings, which, don't get me wrong, an extra closing or 2 a month is still great compared to not having an additional closing. But if you could be at that higher end, like you guys are at, in a matter of 3 weeks, you guys have already brought in $10,000 in GCI. You guys already have a showing that's going today that sounds like it's going to be somewhat successful.
Yep.
You already have possibly 4 or 5 other people at $10,000 in GCI apiece. You guys are looking to bring in 30 to 50 grand within the next month or two, possibly. So knowing that's the case, you guys are definitely at the higher end of the spectrum, or the good end of the spectrum, where we want people to be. And obviously, coming back to the point that I was making earlier, is you're going to get out of the program when you put in. So knowing you are one of our high performers and you're doing really well, and it's not necessarily any hard extra work you're not used to doing as an agent, right?
No.
Perhaps you can kind of expand on that, because that's something I get quite a bit on calls, is what's expected of me? How am I going to get the type of results that other people get? And it's very easy to get those type of results. So perhaps you could kind of expand a little bit on the effort that you guys have put in and what you're doing. How are you presenting yourselves on the phone? How are you handling those so you always have that next step? And you're seeing the type of results that you are, because that's something not just good for somebody who's considering our services, but people that we already have with our services that maybe are only getting 1 to 2 closings a month, and they want 4 to 5, like you guys are on track to. So maybe you can walk me through how exactly are you guys handling? What do you think has been a biggest factor?
Well, first and foremost, is basically what you said just a little while back. Is all about the 80-20%. My 20% as an agent and as a constant closings user is to make sure that what you produce on your 20%, which is putting the marketing out there, putting the brand out there, no lead left behind, touching every single person that comes through that, making sure that you cycle through the ones that don't get called, because sometimes you cannot connect because they don't pick up, and then bringing the ones that are more interested and more ready on top. That's your 20%. Right. So that's the 80 for me. That's what I needed to delegate.
Yeah.
So when I'm able to delegate all of that, my 20% can produce, I want to say I'll be close to 10 closings probably by 6 months into the program, just because of how I can see what is building up.
Yeah.
And that's with me, obviously, doing my 20% for the agents that I have and bringing them up to par. But what do we do that's differently? An appointment is booked. We make sure it's covered. If I can cover it, another one will cover it. If sometimes they don't pick up. Sometimes you call them twice and they don't pick up. I make sure that I do what you tell me, put them back in the missed appointment so that the ISA can go back to it again. But for those people that do pick up, is first and foremost making sure that you listen to the conversation.
Yeah.
Because then you have a context. And then that context will allow you to go through all the scenarios that as a seasoned real estate agent, you're able to pick up when you're talking, when that person talked to them. So it's very easy to pick up the phone call, and you feel like you're speaking to a referral, somebody that's actually interested in getting a house. I already went through looking at the ad, reading the ad, probably has already been through 3 or 4 real estate ads, and then finally got a hold, and then our ISA got a hold of them, went through the scripts, qualified them, and all I got to do is call and say, hey. And then the more conversations you have through that script, is there anything I can do for you? The more you start realizing, okay, I'm about to have 5, 6 closings. I'm about to have, but this person will be a closing in 30, 60, 90.
Right. And
then structure yourself according to that. 90-day people will have a follow-up, every 2 weeks. 60-day people, make sure you follow up, at least once a week. 30-day people, make sure you follow up twice a week. It's very simple.
Yeah.
Like I have in my office a big whiteboard, even though I already told my agents that I'm going to have to transition to your system because it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
You have the 30, 60, you can put a 30, 60, 90 thing. But I have it full of magnetic names where I move them around.
I love it.
And then I tell my agents, or I even go, like, I'm on holiday in Ohio, and I have a block bag with all those names. I followed up this morning with a bunch of them, but my 30 days. And my 60 days just got a generic message saying Merry Christmas. That's it. So it's just those systems that you have to put in place in order to be able to handle the growth.
For no lead left behind, right? Like you said earlier.
Exactly.
I think that's a perfect way to say it.
Yeah, and the 80-20 thing. I do my 20%, and the 80 that you're bringing into my table just works. It does work. But you have to put in the work.
Right, exactly.
And it's as simple as asking them, hey, you spoke to Wellington. He just asked you a couple of questions. Your search will be in your email shortly. Let me know if there's anything I can do for you. Thank you. Sometimes the conversations turn into, I need to look at this house. I need to get pre-approved. Or like the one in escrow, I want to put in an offer before the year is over, because you do find those. And that's what's cool about it. That's my 20%. Imagine if I was calling the leads that came in that morning and I missed her. No. Wellington called all of them, told me that this one was coming up, and I was able to pick that up and delegate the rest.
Yeah.
So that's what I think the success is. I delegated the heavy lifting because it is heavy lifting.
Yeah.
But then when it came to my point, I made sure that I lifted the rest of the way.
Yeah, I think that's why there's been so much success, like you said, too, because you guys really showed up. Like at this point, obviously, when we first got started, you didn't know if we were going to show up 100% or not with the experience of other people, and that's why you let me know. In 2 weeks, I'll know, or I think it was in a week actually. But we showed up 100%. But again, I have other people that ask me, well, why am I only getting one closing a month extra? And you go to find out that maybe that agent is showing up 5 minutes late to the appointments, or not showing up to all of them, or maybe they got on the phone with somebody, had a great conversation, but didn't book that next step, right? And you always, in a relationship building, need to have that next step in place, because in real estate, you're always trying to shift people from A to Z in terms of like being a cold lead to us, like in our case, us doing the brand awareness, building them up, building that rapport, and then you got to walk them through that evolution of being a client, right? And you can't do that if you just talk to them once and then you just leave it at that. You can't expect people to remember, especially in their busy lives, right? They got everything back and forth with family. We got the holidays now, all that type of stuff. So the fact that you guys have shown up 110% is part of the reason you guys have seen those numbers. So
and
I'm super excited for you guys.
And it's like I said, it's all about delegation. I do three things in my office. Follow up with higher intent leads, not because I want to keep everything, not because of all that, just because, I don't want those to ever be left behind and called, because we have a wall of shame also.
You have a wall of shame.
We call leads sometimes after a bid, and it's like, we purchased 2 months ago.
I see.
A wall of shame, so whoever had it actually knows that they missed it.
Got it. So some extra accountability.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I do that. Second is make sure my agents know what to do, how to do it, and in the most utmost professional way. And then third is just develop the business. I want to be able to focus on those two. So if you guys want success, he's a delegation tool, and you can delegate marketing, ad spend, ISA, and basically filtering through leads, and you can focus on what matters, which is, all right, out of these, I don't know how many are there already. And I want to say,
if my phone wasn't filming this, I would pull it up. But we've already generated, in a matter of 3 or 4 weeks, we've already generated hundreds of leads.
Hundreds of leads.
Tens and tens of appointments already. And those people that you've talked about.
Yeah, like there's one escrow, 5, 6 active clients, and I want to say qualified leads. It's about, I don't know, a good number could be 20, 25. So I want to make sure that line, everything this side, is always, always, always in some sort of a touch, phone call, text message, personalized, not a drip campaign, not anything. Everything from this end belongs to you, and you will constantly keep bringing it up so that all this can turn into constant
closings. Yeah, I always use the analogy of it's like T-ball. Our job is to bring the lead, do all that brand awareness, all that type of stuff, build up that rapport, set the ball on the tee, and then let you guys stand at home plate and swing. Right. So as long as you're actually swinging and you show up 100%, you're going to see the type of results you guys have. I can't tell you how excited I am that, one, we even had the opportunity to do this. I'm really excited to have both of you guys here. And the whole reason I started this company years ago was because helping local businesses, and real estate was my passion, so that's why I focus on real estate agents. But it's a trickle-down effect, right? If I can help you guys help those people, those 5 people you're already talking about, those are families, right? That are possibly making one of the biggest decisions of their life to get in a house, or to sell that house and upgrade to something else, or downgrade if they're empty nesters. So it feels really good to, one, be able to help you guys, but also know that you're helping those people as well. So I'm incredibly excited for you guys. I do want to know, John, what's next now for Hainaut Homes?
So we're definitely expanding big this year, because I can just see how you're going to be a pivotal and a good line, I don't know, like in the system where it's just going to explode. I know that. Like I can see it already. And then we are taking ourselves out to another state and replicating that, anywhere I can, to be honest.
I love it.
As long as you have people, because no one succeeds alone. So as long as you have people, then you're going to be able to do all that. So that's what's for Hainaut Homes, expanding new states. And if there's anything we can do for you, just let us know.
That's super exciting. Of course, I'm happy and I'm excited about the results we've gotten so far. I know that you guys are going to expand exponentially. The whole point of the process is leverage us as much as you possibly can.
For sure.
That's why we're here. So
For sure.
I'm excited to have these discussions after this video to talk about expanding to the new location we were talking about and all that type of good stuff. And the last thing I did want to ask you, especially since somebody may be watching it, maybe they haven't gotten a call with us yet, or they got a call but they didn't move forward because they're still on the fence because they had some bad experiences in the past like you did. To those individuals that are either on the fence, they've had bad experiences with lead gen before, or maybe they're about to book a call. Maybe they booked a call, now they're just filling in some time watching some videos before they're on it. What would you say to those people now that you've actually had a chance to be in the system?
Actually, your success, for us to be a success, is that you care about the success and that you have tenacity and actual care for making it work. We're, like you just said, where are the holes? Here's how I can plug them.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to? And that to me was a selling point. Our conversations every week, whether they're super quick, all about this number came in, this number slipped through, this number is what's going on, to, hey, I noticed that we should do this, and that, and then mastermind it into position. That's what I think you guys should look ahead and actually take it in and just go with it. I've tried them all, and Mason was a constant closings, and Mason was a very, very, very pivotal moment in my business, and I can see it already. So go for it. You're not gonna regret it.
I love it. And if you book that call, I'll see you guys on it if I'm the one that takes it. And I will be the one calling you every week like I am John if I'm the one that takes your call. So whether you like it or not, we touch base with everybody every 7 days to make sure the system's running the way it should.
He's creating the culture
I'm-
that he's supposed to be creating.
I'm really happy that you
Yeah.
feel that way, John. And like I said, I'm so excited that you guys were even able to come up here and that we're seeing the results we are. So
Yep.
I'm excited for the future. We'll hop off now so we can talk about the future business ventures and
You got
what area we're going to expand to. But it's been a pleasure, John. Thank you.
Right.